Hello everybody, welcome. This is day 4, Rajeshri here from Soul Tuning. Day 4 of the 12-week transformation program that I'm on, and today I'm feeling really good. I wanted to talk more so about this idea of beauty in the breakdown, and the opportunity in the breakdown, and the strength in the breakdown. Breakdown, meltdown, crying fit, losing your shit, however you want to call it, and the programming around it that most of us are quite used to, and that goes back for a long time, many years, and then also a different perspective, how indigenous cultures handle emotion and lots of emotion, handling the big events in their life, death and all of that. So this was, I was inspired to talk about this from my talk yesterday, where I shared a little bit about my personal breakdown in this process so far. And it just made me think back to what I've witnessed over time about how I've been perceived when it's happening, or what's come up for me when in my mind before I let myself break down. And there's a little puppy dog, and there's just a lot of taboo around. I mean, let's just start, okay, so with men, that it's not okay for them to cry, or crying or breaking down or revealing your skeletons in the closet or all your darkness, that you're weak, that you're losing control, which is very true, and it's not a bad thing. When the person perceives you breaking down, what's one of the first things that you're used to people saying? What's wrong? As if something's wrong, right? And again, they probably have good intention there, and maybe they're trying to come from their heart and they don't know what to say. I'm just talking about the programming here and what we're programmed to say, and how we're programmed to deal with breaking down from the perceiver's end and from the person who's breaking down. And I think it's very important that in this culture, because most of us don't know how to deal with this, and we haven't been, we don't have it in our tradition or our culture that's passed down as to how to deal with it, that I do think it's very important to have a container. And a container could be of safe space inside that you've created for yourself, that you've made this relationship with yourself already, that it's okay to break down. So if you've done that work, then you could break down anywhere. That takes some time, definitely, if you're working with this kind of programming. Or a space in your home. Maybe you don't feel so safe breaking down in public and you need to wait to go back home and do it. Or a person, and that also takes some time, is developing that trust with someone who truly knows how to listen and speaks from their heart. Because when you're breaking down and you're taking that courage to just let it all go, and you're losing control, which is a wonderful thing. Doesn't feel like it, but it's a very, very good thing, because the programming is breaking down as far as how you thought things were supposed to go, or basically how you thought things were supposed to go. It's breaking apart, and it's happening at a physical level, and that's a very good sign, because these changes that you're wanting to make in your life are going to be able to start to come through and reprogram with this, with the idea of letting go. And it's like a computer. You're defragging your mind and clearing out the old files and allowing for a new relationship with your mind and a new relationship with your emotions and all these ideas of life and relationship to reform into something new. So doing that in front of other people, building that trust in front of other people, it's very important to, hopefully that person knows what we're talking about here, and they know how to listen and listen with their heart. And it's not about fixing you. And it's not about giving you advice as if something's terribly wrong. Because you are doing what most people don't have the courage to do. And I want to say that you've chose to allow yourself to break down. Therefore, that is love. That is self-love. You're loving yourself and you're allowing that energy and that honesty to come out. And so there's nothing wrong with that. You are so in the right. You are so building strength. And it's such a positive thing. And when you allow yourself to do this time after time, whether it's alone or with that person who just knows how to be that sounding wall, and then maybe afterwards you guys can breathe together and talk about, whoa, what just happened, right? But when you allow yourself to do that time after time, you start to see the jewels that are on the other side. You start to see can be an incredible process to allow myself to do this. There's positivity, there's new growth, there's new beginnings on the other side of this, allowing yourself to have these breakdowns. And what becomes of that over time is incredible, because you start to build this new program with yourself where you're starting to see yourself break down. Here it comes. And then you already have that seed planted in your mind that it's going to be all good. But it's way back there. It's that stability at your core, that strength at your core that you've built that allows yourself to go through this process. And then in that space that you have that strength, you allow yourself to maybe think it's not okay. And it sounds very, very odd, but you need a grounding rod, right? In the storm, your mind wants to know, or your being, your inner child wants to know that if I let myself fly away right now, I'll be okay. I won't be lost. I have something I can come back to. I have a safe space that I come back to. And that's what these seeds are planting from doing this time and time again, programming time and time again, that you're building this relationship with your mind and with yourself and with your inner child, or however you want to look at it, that it's okay to allow yourself to go through this process because you know you've got a home base, something to come back to. And so in that process, knowing that, you can let yourself go to the darkest of places if that's what's necessary. And this is about allowing whatever needs to come up naturally to come up, and witnessing it as an observer in the background, which takes time to develop. And part of that seed planting is allowing yourself to develop that, but allowing the raw truth to come up in the darkest, ugliest forms, and then coming back to your breath, allowing the energy to move, because sometimes this energy, if you believe this, is not even yours. Sometimes it's yours in the sense that you've taken on these ideas in life and called them your own. Other times it's just you walking around. You can and if you notice this, I don't know if you've experienced this, but you can walk around and have an incredible day. You're in the best of mood, and then you just feel funky when you get home, and you're like, man, I don't know what just happened. You're watching your mind, excuse me, you're watching your mind, everything was good, and then there's just this funk. Well, that's energy. That's what we're surrounded by. So best to let that move and move through you and be gone, and not judge it. So this is not about judging yourself that something is wrong or that you're weak, or maybe the fear comes up, acknowledging that it's scary, but allowing yourself to go through it and developing those partnerships and those friendships with people who also understand this, that we can do this together. And from what I've learned from indigenous cultures, is they have never learned how to stuff their feelings or be untrue with themselves. And that's what this comes down to. We've learned how to lie to ourselves when it's actually coming up and when it's actually happening. And what that does right then and there is take it on as our truth. And it's not our truth. And they know that we're human beings with emotions, and build ceremonies around these big events like death and certain things in life, celebrations too, coming of age and all that, and allowing you to be able to process the joy, all the different feelings around it, in a contained space. So, for most of us in this culture, we don't live our lives that way, and we're like a bunch of babies, most of us, running around trying to figure all this out. That's my experience, through my own personal experience and through observation. So I really want to emphasize the beauty in the breakdown and how powerful it is, and how it is your sword. It is your brave heart, or however you want to look at it. It is you standing there at the beginning of the breakdown, is you engaging your sword and saying, let's do this. It really is. Allowing yourself to just be honest in no matter how ugly it's going to get. And I want to say I support you. It has worked for me. And it has changed my mind and changed my outlook on life and my relationship to others and myself. So again, if you don't have that container, make a container for yourself in your home. And if you feel brave enough, put yourself out on video if you're ready for that. That's a whole nother aspect of this. And I was really moved to share that with you, and just want to stand up for those people who are willing to be honest with themselves in the world, and who love themselves, and who are willing to build that strength and change their mind and allow themselves to go through life as it's happening, not all of a sudden at 40 or whatever, and to each their own. If that's when it happens for you, that's when it happens for you. But the idea is to be able to practice it more in the moment so it doesn't well up into a volcano, because then it's hard to track where it comes from at that point. It's like, man, I've been dealing with this, and it starts to get more confusing. So if you can deal with it in the moment, more power to you. If you just want to let it all out one day, 40 years later, more power to you. It's that making that first step and changing the programming with your mind and yourself. So thanks for watching, and please leave your comments. I'm choosing to do these videos as kind of like a journal for myself, but also to hopefully inspire others and to take this journey with others and hear from you, because I've only got my own two eyes and my own perspective with all this. So I'd love to hear from you and how you feel about all these different subjects that I talk about. So subscribe. That will help to continue the journey with me as I post videos, if you're interested in that. And leave your comments below. Let me know your experience, and till next time, blessings to you.